What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your $600 second stimulus check update and your $2,000 third stimulus check update. If you watched my last video, you know that there's breaking news out right now that the Senate Republicans, 10 Senate Republicans to be exact, have written a letter to President Biden with their own stimulus package proposal, which is a lower stimulus package that the Republicans say that they would be willing to pass, and they're pleading to President Joe Biden to pass a lower stimulus package. The current expectations or initial information is that the stimulus checks in this lower stimulus package proposed by Republican senators is $1,000 stimulus check. We're just getting kind of initial details on this. In the last video, we actually read the letter. The details of that were not in the letter. We're getting some more details on this as we are going throughout the day. The real question here is, will President Biden and the Democrats want to play fair ball with the Republicans and craft a bipartisan package for the third stimulus check package, which is probably already written? Okay, it's probably 90 or 100% written. I mean, we've seen Senator Bernie Sanders and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi say that the third stimulus check package was going to be unveiled on the House and Senate floor on Monday or Tuesday, which is tomorrow. So Monday, tomorrow. So the real question here going forward is, now with this breaking new kind of last-ditch effort from the Senate Republicans for a lower stimulus package with lower stimulus checks and more targeted stimulus checks, what will happen? Will the Democrats try to play ball with them? Will they negotiate? Or are they going to ram it through, as they say, with the reconciliation card? Are they going to use this card and pass it through and pass the $1.9 trillion or the slightly larger stimulus checks? We've seen a lot of Democrats saying that we want larger than $1,400 stimulus checks. Remember, the $1,400 plus the $600 equals the $2,000 plus up bill. But we've had many different Democrats calling for larger stimulus checks of a full $2,000 and monthly stimulus checks. Just this week, a few days ago, we covered a letter written by over 50 House Democrats from the U.S. House of Representatives that say that we need more than $1,400 checks. We actually need monthly stimulus checks. So that's the Democrats here, or at least some of the Democrats. And then the Republicans, or at least some of the Republicans, are writing a letter right now and talking to President Biden about a lower stimulus check package. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to jump over to Republican Senator Rob Portman from Ohio, who coincidentally is retiring after this term. But he spoke with President Biden today. He's one of the authors of the letter and the outline for the lower stimulus check package from the Republicans. We're going to hear from him first on their package and what they're looking for. And then we're going to hear from the Senate Budget Chairman, Bernie Sanders, from the Senate, obviously. He is probably the second most powerful person in the Senate. Him and Mitch McConnell would, you'd argue who's more powerful there. But Bernie Sanders is considered President Biden's right-hand man. So he's going to give us the Democratic point of view of what is going to happen. The real question is, are the Democrats going to try to negotiate and play ball and go with a slightly lower stimulus package, or negotiate down from their $1.9 trillion with the bill probably has already written? It's probably finished, or 99% finished at this time. Or are they just going to ram it through and pass it without Republican support with the reconciliation process? So let's jump over to Republican Senator Rob Portman. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on new video updates on the third stimulus check, the third stimulus package, mortgage and rental assistance, and different kind of buckets of money that you can claim from the government stimulus packages. And give this video a like. It really helps out our channel. All right, here we go.
It's true that this morning we sent out a letter to the president saying we would love to work with him. It's signed by 10 Republicans. It specifies the proposal that we think is more targeted and more appropriate for the times we're in. And my hope is the president will meet with us and we'll be able to work out something that is bipartisan. So, we've done it 5 times. You know, we've had 5 COVID-19 packages that are entirely bipartisan. Let's do it again, because that's what would be best for the country.
So, Senator, I have the letter here. It does lay out general ideas. some specifics, but not a lot. Can you give us a ballpark of how much you're willing to spend in this whole package you're proposing?
Well, it'll be less than 1.9 because much of what the administration has laid out has nothing to do with COVID-19. And in fact, some of it is not even responsive to the issues that Mr. Dees raised. As an example, with regard to the direct payments, we think they should be much more targeted. $50,000 cap for individuals, as an example, $100,000 for a family.
So that's interesting there that he's given us one of the provisions from the Republican plan, basically saying that they don't want to give stimulus checks to anybody making over $50,000 for an individual or $100,000 for a couple. So that would be a significant reduction from the current plans from the first and second stimulus check, basically had the same wording, which was up to $75,000 for an individual or $150,000 for a couple would get the full stimulus check. Anything after $75,000, your stimulus check would be reduced by $50 for every $1,000 you make over $75,000. So with the first stimulus check, because it was $1,200, that phased out at around $99,000. For the second stimulus check, because it was only $600, that phased out for people at around $87,000. The reason why this is even becoming an issue, and we've talked about this a little bit in the past, is because Republicans and some Democrats are all worried about the less than 1% of people that could make more than those income limits and get a check. And the reason is because the checks are bigger this time, at least from the Democratic proposal. $1,400 for adults, $1,400 for each child, and $1,400 for adult dependents. So for example, family of a couple and then 4 children, 6 people, they're going to get 6 checks of $1,400. So if they made $300,000, their check's going to get reduced for every $1,000 over $150,000 for a couple. But they would still get a small stimulus check because they have so many children. And this is a rare example. Bernie Sanders says this is less than 1%. But that's why I expect that there will probably be some changes in here to probably put a hard cap at either 75,000 or 99,000 based on the Democratic side. Those are changes I'm thinking might be happening. The Republicans are saying they want a hard cap at $50,000 for a single, $50,000 for a couple. Let me know your thoughts on that down below in the comments.
And right now, if you look at the administration's plan, you could have a family with 3 kids making almost $300,000 a year getting a check. And many of these people have had no impact from COVID. In fact, some are doing quite well. Others are struggling. Let's focus on those who are struggling. You made the good point a moment ago that all the economic analysis has come in saying that those who make over, let's say, $75,000 a year are tending not to spend the money, but rather save it. In other words, it's not being used for the intended purpose. So let's target it. We really want to help those who need it the most. And at a time of unprecedented deficits and debts, and a debt as a percentage of the economy is as high as it's been in our nation's history since World War II, we need to be sure this is targeted. Second, with regard to unemployment insurance, they have a program that takes it until September. We don't know what the economy is going to look like between now and September. Most economists believe next year will be significant growth, over 4% growth. So let's target that a little bit more and make sure that it is tied somewhat to the economic conditions.
Okay, so those are 2 examples. You spoke to President Biden on the phone this week. Did you talk about any of this?
Well, I had a very nice call from President Biden regarding my decision not to run again in 2 years, and I appreciated that. I don't talk about what I talked to the president about, but I will say it was a nice conversation. I did raise the issue, but my hope is that, again, the inaugural address will not just be good rhetoric, but actually be practice. And I think it's really in the interest of the Biden administration not to do what the Democrats on the Hill are planning to do, which is on Tuesday, as you know, start to go down the road of a process that will jam Republicans and really jam the country, because with a bare 50-vote majority, remember they have the 50-50 Senate now, so it's divided right in half,
But
that they would use what's called reconciliation, and basically what it says is you ignore the interests of the minority party and just jam it through. And it's not in the interest of the party, of the Democratic Party, to do that, in my view, because it will set President Biden down a path of partisanship that I think will poison the well for other bipartisanship we'll need on so many issues.
Well, you mentioned poisoning the well. I just have to ask you, because you did support Republican efforts to use reconciliation on a few things like trying to repeal the Affordable Care Act, passing the Trump tax cuts. So explain why it was okay for Republicans, but not Democrats.
Man, what a hot question there. Yeah, if it's good, that old saying, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. And it'll be interesting to see his answer here. But basically, she's saying, well, Republicans use the reconciliation rule for those several things and the Trump tax cuts. So if Republicans and he voted yes on the reconciliation rule. So if Republicans used it just a few years ago, why can't the Democrats use it? Very very interesting. Those are the kind of questions I would ask if I was interviewing somebody. I'd be like, hey, let's ask the real questions here, right? Like, we want to know the real answers here, right?
You did support Republican efforts to use reconciliation on a few things like trying to repeal the Affordable Care Act, passing the Trump tax cuts. So explain why it was okay for Republicans, but not Democrats.
Well, reconciliation is a tool that you're able to use. It has to relate directly to the budget. And what the Democrats are talking about doing is, one, using it right off the bat without, trying to come up with a bipartisan compromise as we have on COVID-19. If you can't find bipartisanship on COVID-19, I don't know where you can find it. Our proposal, as an example, is going to have all of the health care funding that President Biden has in his proposal, all of it. So there's a lot of bipartisanship. But second, reconciliation is not meant for the purposes that they're trying to use it for. They would have to get rid of what's called the Byrd Rule, which keeps it to the budget. In other words, everything has to be directly related to the budget. And so that would change the rules of the Senate.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be the old reconciliation. It would be a new reconciliation. They've been very clear about that.
Okay.
You know how that works. But this is essentially, it's getting rid of the filibuster if you get rid of the Byrd Rule, which, is a huge change in our country and will lead to less bipartisanship, not more.
Yeah. And
So yeah, I mean, you see the inner workings there of the Senate that basically, they may have to get rid of the Byrd Rule to do this. They may have to get rid of the filibuster. If they get rid of the filibuster, then it's kind of like there's an unlimited supply of this. Because if they get rid of the filibuster rule if the Democrats get rid of it, then these don't really hold any power anymore. Then they can basically pass any bill with 51 votes. If they do that, then Democrats have free reign for 2 years at least, okay? Because 51 votes, it's a 50-50 Senate. As you know, when there's a 50-50 tie, if every single Republican says no and every single Democrat says yes, 50-50 tie, tiebreaker goes to the vice president, who is Kamala Harris. So there has been talk about getting rid of the filibuster rule. We do think that Joe Biden, at least based on everything he's said up until this point, is that he does want to have unity because in 2 years, if the Democrats lose the House or the Senate, then you're back to negotiating. If you start off with a strong arm position of basically saying we're going to do it our way and we're going to pass it without your support at all, Republicans will remember that. So, and as you heard Rob Portman there say, there's going to be a lot of other bills that you're going to want to pass over the next 2 years that you're going to need Republican support on. And if you strong arm us right out the gate, it, as he says, it might poison the well and it might leave a bad taste in their mouth. So, but this has been done by both sides for decades. So, I don't know if there was a bad taste in anybody's mouth when Trump did it because they still continued to pass bills bipartisan. So as he said, it is a tool in the Senate. Now let's go to Bernie Sanders, Senator Bernie Sanders, who is probably the second most powerful Democrat in the Senate, but he actually works closer with the president than Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer does. I mean, Bernie Sanders and the president are basically like best buds. I mean, if you ever hear them talk, they basically back each other on anything. So Biden will say, well, whatever Bernie Sanders wants to do with the package, and Bernie Sanders will say, well, I fully back Biden. So they're like literally two peas in a pod when it comes to Senate bills, and they've worked together in the Senate for many, many years. Let's go to Bernie Sanders, his response on the Republican senator's bill.
Good morning, Senator. The Democrats seem prepared to pass Biden's COVID relief package with or without Republican support, which has been shrinking in recent days. Did the president overestimate the appetite for bipartisanship?
Look, Martha, we all want bipartisanship, and I think you're going to see more of it as we move down the pike. You're going to see bipartisanship on infrastructure. There are a lot of Republicans who are outraged by the high cost of prescription drugs in this country. We pay 10 times more than other countries do for certain drugs. We are going to look forward to working with Republicans. But right now, this country faces an unprecedented set of crises. We have families who are watching this program right now who cannot feed their kids. We have millions of people who face eviction. We are in the midst of the worst pandemic in 100 years. We have got to act, and we have got to act now. And we just don't have.
Senator, you said you can't reach out to Republicans indefinitely, and Democrats should use the majority. But this morning, we're hearing 10 GOP senators have a new plan. So is it a mistake for Democrats to consider abandoning bipartisanship negotiations so soon?
Martha, the issue is not, bipartisanship or not. The issue is, are we going to address the incredible set of crises and the pain and the anxiety which is in this country? You know what? I don't care what anybody says. We have got to deal with this pandemic. We have got to make sure that we are producing the vaccines that we need and get those vaccines into the arms of people. We cannot have children in America going hungry, people being evicted, schools not open. We need to open our schools in a safe way. That's what we have to do. So the question is not bipartisanship. The question is addressing the unprecedented crises that we face right now. If Republicans want to work with us, they have better ideas on how to address those crises, that's great. But to be honest with you, I have not yet heard that.
Does your party have the votes to pass the relief package through the reconciliation process if you decide to go that route?
Yeah, I believe that we do, because it's hard for me to imagine any Democrat, no matter what state he or she may come from, who doesn't understand the need to go forward right now in an aggressive way to protect the working families of this country. Look, all of us will have differences of opinion. This is a $1.9 trillion bill. I have differences and concerns about this bill. But at the end of the day, we're going to support the President of the United States, and we're going to come forward, and we're going to do what the American people overwhelmingly want us to do.
So it sounds there like Senator Bernie Sanders is still willing to ram it through with the reconciliation process, although we have not heard from President Joe Biden yet, because President Joe Biden has kind of led with this unity foot. And if they go the reconciliation route right off the gate, I would expect that if they don't negotiate a little bit with here, I probably expect that we won't get any Republican votes at all in the Senate. So then they'll have to pass it through the reconciliation process. So really the question is, will President Biden try to appease the Republicans a little bit or meet them halfway or something along those lines? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. What do you think they should do? And what do you think they will do? I will be keeping you updated. Remember, we have another video tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. New videos come out every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., 8 p.m. and 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure to subscribe down below and click the bell icon to all notifications so you don't miss out on new videos, but you won't get a notification for the 11 p.m. You just got to show up at 11 p.m. or that's actually 8 p.m. West Coast time and show up on YouTube and just type in "It's Jimmy" and go to the latest details, latest video. I will give you the breaking details on what is going on with this breaking news story tonight at 11 p.m. You can click this top video here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this video teaches you how to start your own business selling products on Amazon FBA. I have a program where I teach people how to replace their 9-to-5 income selling products on Amazon. Click on one of those videos to watch them next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.